So now let's see about the present perfect tense and past tense, simple past tense in this video. So where do we use present perfect tense? So we use present perfect tense for the actions which has been completed recently. Okay, the action would have completed recently, but the result is shown in the present. For example, I lost my book. It is a past tense, right? But to represent the same thing in present perfect, we will be using I have lost my book. Okay, which means that you would have lost just now, before some time, until now it is lost. Now let's see to the structure of the present perfect tense. So we have a positive form, negative form, and question form. Positive form. So what is the formula? Subject plus have plus has. That be verb is have or has for present perfect tense. With that, we should use verb's third form and the object. Okay, this is what we have to use. Um, for example, I have worked, he has worked, she has worked, they have worked, we have worked, it has worked. So all here we are using the verbs third form. You know very well the third form is nothing but the past participle. The next comes negative form. So negative form's formula is subject plus have or has not plus verb's third form and object, whatever the rest of the sentence is. Okay. So I have not worked. He has not worked. She has not worked. They have not worked. We have not worked. It has not worked. So we should be clear that in the present perfect tense we should be using just have or has. For what? For which subject we'll be using have? For I, they, we, and you. Okay. For he, she, and it, we should use has. So same procedure will be followed for negative. I have not. She has not. And the next comes a question form where here we have this. We just turn this have to forward before subject. We just place that before subject. See, have I worked? Has she worked? We're just shifting the place. We are shifting subject's place and to be verb place. We interchange the verb and change into a question form. So here also, when we are changing, so to remember that whichever this is positive form, negative form, or question form, we'll be using verb's third form, that is past participle, to represent the present to perfect tense. To represent whichever perfect tense, okay? And next comes from the examples. I have seen that movie. I have found my keys. I have finished my homework. I have bought a house. I have just eaten lunch. For example, if somebody is you're going to somebody's house, they are about to have lunch, they might call you, why can't you have lunch with us? So if you would have just had your lunch, you would say, I have just had, I have just eaten lunch. Rex has baked a cake. It just happened. The cake is still there. You can eat that cake. That's why Rex has baked a cake. And the next comes the past tense. So past tense is what we describe like whatever has happened before now. Okay, it has happened in earlier time. So here we can express it with time or without time. See, for example, first one expressed with time. Brian called last week. So last week here be denoting that last week he has called. Without time, see, I cooked dinner. You don't know when she has cooked, but she has cooked her dinner. Regular verb and irregular verb. So here we have two types of verb, the regular and irregular verb. Regular verbs are the verbs which have a fixed pattern. We just change the verb first form by just adding d or ed, and it changed into a uh, past tense. But irregular verbs are the verbs which do not have fixed pattern. We have to by hearted. For example, teach is changed into taught, sell sold, buy bought. Many irregular verbs. And next comes the negative form. So John called. To change into negative form, John didn't call. Question form. again this did should be placed before the subject. Right? When did John call? When did John call? Why did John call? Likewise, when did she arrive? What is the structure of the past tense? So here, for everything, see, for the subject, we'll be just using the verb second form, that is past tense. I worked, she worked, he worked, they worked, we worked, you worked. In the same way, when it comes to negative form, what we have to do is, with the subject, we should use did not or didn't. Didn't is a contraction of did not. Subject plus did not plus verbs base form. So when we are telling the past tense in a negative form, you're not supposed to use verb to in the negative form. You should use verbs base form. So here I worked is the past tense, but in the negative form I didn't work. It's not I didn't work, she didn't work. No, it's wrong. I didn't work, she didn't work, he didn't work, they didn't work, we didn't work, you didn't work. And next comes the question form. This question form again we just predicate with did plus subject plus again here it comes verbs first form. We will be using the verbs first form only here also. So to represent past tense in the positive form, we will be using the verb second form, which is the past tense, and to represent the negative form or the question form in the past tense, we should use only verbs first form. Did I work? Did he work? Did she work? Did it work? Did you work? Did we work? Did they work? Now here we have some examples. Excuse me. We have to change it to the past tense. I play tennis. This is the simple present tense. We are changing it to past tense. I played tennis. They study maths. They studied maths. John called. You have to change to negative form. John didn't call. Alex sent the email. No, change to a negative form. Alex didn't send the email. So here you would have, again I have discussed with you in the class that some of the verbs we just change the last letter to make into a past form. So send send will be the base form, whereas sent will be the past form. Like lend lend. So lent lent. So we have seen some more examples like that, right? This is that form. When we change to a negative form, we change to a verb. Yes, base form, and so we are using here send. She arrived at 10. So we end the question, when did she arrive? It hurt. You have to change to a negative form. It didn't hurt. So that's it. So by here we are completing the present perfect tense and the past.